if someone is looking to either find someone to kind of make these changes for them, or they are saying, you know what, I have this website, or I didn't build a website, and I want to build one. What are some of the questions that they should be asking the person that they hire to build it for them? Whether that be their designer, their developer, what should they be asking them?
Yeah, first question I would ask, if I don't want to continue with you, do I get the website handed to me or do I lose the website? That's going to be a
Mm.
big one. Big website developers, it could be a big challenge. There might be fees hidden in if you don't want to continue with me, then transferring the website to someone else's server or transferring the ownership could be a lot more difficult than smaller web companies like Wix and Squarespace, where transferring ownership is actually really easy. You could do it in 15, 20 minutes. But bigger developers, depending on what you need your website to do, it could get pretty messy over if I leave, if I would choose to go to a different company, how do I keep my website? Second question I would ask, referring to Google Analytics, am I going to get data regularly on how my website's performing? If they're a real company, then if they're professional, they're doing analytics on your website. And if they're not willing to share it with you at all, or give some to you, then they're not worth your time. It's not that hard to send over reports on a regular basis. I'd say no more than weekly. You don't need to bog them down, but you need to know reports on how your website's doing. And then, based on what those reports say, if you don't know much about websites and the data looks good and it's looking better and better every week, trust them. Stay with them and trust them. At the end of the day, you want data that's clear and obvious that says your website's doing better and better, and that means your company's going to do better and better. So don't get overly critical and analytical of a company that can be open with you and prove that they're performing and prove that they're helping your brand succeed. So if they don't give you data, you can't evaluate that. But if they do give you data and everything's on the up and up week after week, then you got a good company.
So that kind of goes back then to setting goals and knowing what the goal of your website is. Because, I mean, you could say that, oh, well, we had all these people look at it. But what they really wanted was they wanted to gain more leads, or they wanted to sell more of a certain product, right? So it would be beneficial to have those goals set as well and make sure you have those.
Another thing that you need to talk about is how many pages you want. Developers will charge by the page sometimes or by the hour. And if they are coming up with, oh, you need 35, 45, 67, 80 pages, then they're finding ways to squeeze money out of you. You need to ask for reasons and purpose statements behind each page, not just the website, the page. Why did you want to build that page for me? Is that page necessary right now? Can we wait or do without that page? So don't go crazy with the pages. Don't go crazy with links to different places. You want a very clean website that's not busy, doesn't have extra information, just gives people exactly what they want and leads them to buying your service or product.
So it kind of sounds like, too, what you're saying is you should sit down beforehand and kind of think through what you want in a site, right? Because, if you bring someone in, like you said, and they're charging based on how many pages they build, then you're just going to get nickel and dimed. And they probably won't have your best interest if that's what they want to push, right? So it's good to sit down and have what you really want in a site before you even when you start to have that conversation with someone to build it out for you, right? Is there any other questions that you think that the developer should ask, or the designer should ask you? You know.
I guess another thing that we haven't talked about is the complications of graphic size. This really isn't a question you need to ask your developer, but if you're building your website, make sure that you use graphics that actually work, and they're not just because they're beautiful doesn't mean they're going to work. They got to be the right dimensions, the right size, the right perspective. They got to be done on a professional camera. Just because it looks cool on your lock screen on your phone doesn't mean it's going to go well on your website, and it doesn't mean it's going to go well on every device. So make sure you've got good graphics on your website that work. In my time building websites, finding and building graphics that work can be a nightmare, especially when you find a graphic you really want to use, but you got to say, no, we're not going to wind up using this because it's just I can't make it work the way I need it to work on all devices.
Well, and that kind of dips into the branding too. Like what you said of, oh, well, I really like how it works, but maybe that doesn't fit the brand that you're really going for, and it just completely changes the feel of the website entirely. Fantastic. Well, um, thank you so much, Ben, for continuing this discussion on how to make your website work for you.